Well, yeah, what did you think about that scene where the women was at they had that meeting? It's kind of, I wanted to touch upon what you were saying before the interruption. You were saying how like a lot of times people they be morally like corrupted or whatever. That's why people don't always feel sorry for them. It kind of reminded me of that scene where the women was complaining about Keisha, you know, all her pictures and stuff. Like, is that kind of why you said what you said, that scene right there?
Yeah.
You remember, because the mothers, they was like, why should we even try to care so much about her when she remember, because one of them had a son, and she was saying how that Keisha was sending bad naked pictures and videos to her son, so it's like, why should she care?
Right. I mean, that's a very, I would say, surface way of looking at it, and this is the and this is the reason why it is a good thing that the universe does provide people like the woman who is ahead of that organization to help us look past how really corrupted someone is.
Yeah.
And look at the fact that she's still missing, she's still somebody's child. And these young people are like this, and you really can't blame these young people.
Yeah.
You can blame them a little bit. However, they are simply a manifestation of their environment.
Right.
You know, because if you ask me, like I was telling you numerous times, for a long time ago, I saw a shift way back in late 1974.
That was 50 years ago.
Yeah, I saw the direction that the world was going in. I saw this. You know what I'm saying? I saw it.
Right.
And I told my mother about it because I saw the way that my mother and them was help producing what we're both looking at right now on Shy. See, my mother's generation, the early adults of the 1970s era are the ones who created these Beyoncés, these Ice Cubes, these Keishas, and all of these people. It's the like the rich guy. What's his name again? You say?
Rich guy. Well, wait a minute. Okay, when you say what? Okay, what rich guy?
The pizza owner.
Oh, Dowda. Yeah, Dowda.
Dowda?
Dowda. D-A-U-D-A. Yeah, Dowda.
Dowda.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I like his character.
Oh, yeah, I do too. He's real smooth.
Yeah, and he, oh man, hold on. I'm moving too fast now because there's something when I saw it, I said, I'm gonna talk to Josh about this because I see so much of myself in there. But I need.
Yeah,
no, go ahead.
I remember last year when we was watching it, I was telling you that he reminded me of you in a lot of ways, how you would be if you was in that life.
Mm-hmm.
Or how I think you would be, you know.
Oh, yeah, most definitely, and we definitely gonna get into that. You know, not primarily because we talking about me, you know, but I just like the character.
Right.
But going back to what manifested Akeisha, if you look at her, like you said, you know, the lesbian said her father died. Yeah, that's just part of it. Okay, how would you feel if not only did your dad die, but you find out that your mother is a lesbian?
Yeah, that'll make a whole lot of people go like haywire.
Now, by Keisha not being a lesbian, how do you think she's dealing with that? And then she has a boyfriend who she's still in love with. I forget what his name is. The one that has a whole lot of kids.
Oh yeah, him.
She's still in love with him. And you know, the type of love that they have for one another is just gonna always be that way with them. It's gonna always be that way with them. And everyone has that type of person in their life. That's just like I've got two women in my life like that. Patricia Jones, the woman who's in Texas, and Monica Norwood, this woman who I grew up with in Chicago. Forever. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
forever. Those two women. I mean, even and Patricia told me herself, even if I was to get married and you came to Texas, I would just have to see you. And she said, that's just the way it is. She said, that's just it. Monica feels the same way. But going back to this Keisha thing, she's dealing with that. Okay? She's got a little brother who she's always worried about on these dangerous streets of Chicago. See, they don't show her stressing that in Chicago. I mean, on the Chi, but considering the context of what the show is about, I'm pretty certain that character is based upon a cold reality that she always is going to be afraid if her brother is going to, she probably watches him go to school every morning. And she probably like, I hope I see my brother again.
Yeah, that's a sad reality that a lot of black women live under, where they have to pray that their brothers or sons or whoever don't come back. Do come back, because how crazy it is out here, and especially in places like the Chi.
And that is because of the irresponsibility of the parents that I was telling my mother about. My mother and them can complain about how Chicago is right now all they want to, but every single time my mother and I talk about it, I tell her, it's your generation's fault. Y'all the one. Everything that's going on in Chicago right now, y'all helped created that. Y'all did that to these kids. You gave birth to these children. These are your babies. Going all the way to the 90s and all the way up to the present moment. And if you look at the parents who were adults back in those days when they was out doing the hustle and all up in the clubs, if you look at those parents today, they have nobody in their corner to help take care of them.
Right.
They catching the karma, bro. They're catching it. And what they don't understand is that the universe sees all things. So they figure, well, those ain't my kids. Why should I care? The reason why you don't care about everybody else's kids because you really don't, in fact, care about your own. And this is what the sister was saying. These are just not our kids. I mean, everybody's child. All of these are our children.
Yeah, every one of them could be your father, your daughter. That's what you were saying. You got to see these children as your daughter.
Yeah.
Because when you see them like that, that's when you start making changes. You'll take it personal then.
And that's when the compassion comes in. And like she said, you got to stop judging her for how she is. You have to look at her situation. She lost her father. Her mother's a lesbian. She's not a lesbian, but she has to see her mother in a lesbian relationship. Then she has to go to school with all of her friends knowing this about her mother. And she knows because we dealing with niggas. And so you know how people always talk. And so a lot of times one of the reasons, one of the ways that young women like her, the only way that they can deal with things like that result to perversion in order to get attention, that she's no longer able to get attention from her father. So by her not getting that common attention from her father as far as the male image is concerned, then she's going to try to get attention from other males by way of perversion, trying to get attention, and then she still feels uncomfortable around her mother's girlfriend.
Yeah, but you remember, I think she had front of the gym, she said she didn't like her.
Mm-hmm. She still feels uncomfortable around her because you never know. There's something behind that.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people on YouTube was saying. There's something about that Drake girl,
Mm-hmm.
Her mother's husband or whatever, girlfriend, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of that, you haven't touched on her yet. How do you feel about her character so far? Because so far she's banging and she's trying to be there, but a lot of people don't trust it or they have their reservations.
No, I don't trust that at all. I mean, I'm not saying that she shouldn't care, But as much as she's caring, something's behind that.
Yeah. Cause she carrying more than her own mom. I'm like, that ain't right.
Yeah, your mama's not in the street pulling guns on folks, walking up on homeless people. So what are you doing? Are you doing the man thing, or is it because you in love with this woman's daughter?
Yeah, cause that's why I kind of had a feeling when what you had said about 2 minutes ago you was gonna lead to that, cause that does happen a lot. Where let's say women who enter a relationship, that them women they be with be turning out their children or their girls.
Something
it happens more than people like to admit.
Something happened. But all at the same time, like I say, we always got these gay people that are trying to portray their community as the most moral and reliable ones, the most in touch, with everything, and everybody else outside of their community is irrational and out of control.
Right.
Yeah, it's a truck.
Like when you be watching the shot, do you see besides like the school and stuff, do you see a lot of streets that you remember walking past or walking on as you were growing up, David?
Man, you can blindfold me and take me to Chicago and not tell me where I'm at. And you can take me in an alley, any place in Chicago, and take the blindfold off at night, and I can tell you exactly where I'm at. I know that city that well.
So when you watching that show, do you kind of feel like a sense of like euphoria or whatever?
Yeah, of course. Yep, I have a connection.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. That's why I like to talk to you about it, because you actually from there. I ain't never been to Chicago, so when you watch it, I know you feel a hot sense of emotion that people who ain't from there ain't gonna feel. Cause you lived it, Chicago raised you.
Yeah, even though they say it's different there now, but hey,
yeah,
that's what happens with time. Nothing's going to remain the same.
Do you regret not being there in the past 30+ years? Not even once? I know why. I know the story of why. But do you ever think about that?
Well, outside of the bastard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know that's why. Yeah.
I do have some regrets about not being there like I should, and as a matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up, because a real good friend of my cousin's, who I knew, I wasn't friends. His name is Walter Page. But see, the cousin who came out to Las Vegas, who I spent some time with, Joe Ricks, he was very close to Walter Page. And on his birthday, he found out that same day that Walter Page had passed.
Man, I know that kind of brought back a lot of memories for you.
For me? No, not at all. And that's what I'm leading to. Now, I knew Walter Page. I went to school with Walter Page, but I wasn't close to Walter Page.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with how they say stay in touch.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that simply means just talking on the phone, or what we used to do, write letters or send emails. No, that's not what stay in touch actually means. Staying in touch implies maintaining that emotional and psychological relationship.
Right.
You have to take a plane and go spend time with people who you come up with, so that you can nourish that closeness. Now, a lot of people who I went to school with and who I knew in Chicago on a regular basis, what I've noticed about myself, when those people have passed, people like Walter Page, I see how much my cousin is distraught about that. Now, I knew Walter Page as well. And I'm checking myself. And I'm like, nothing's there. And it's not that I didn't care about Walter Page. Nothing's there. You know? Nothing's there. I was very close to my friend David Stevenson. You know, this mixed guy.
Mm-hmm.
I was very close to him and his family. And he was the one I was telling you a while back, who was a cameraman for those barbershop movies. And David Stevenson was funny as hell. And he was very, me and David Stevenson was very close. But as time goes on, when you become away from everybody, time seems to detach yourself from these people emotionally and psychologically.
Right.
And as long as I've been away from everybody, it's going on, man, do you know how long it is? It's going on, you might as well say like 40 years. When David Stevenson passed, I'm like, wow, David Stevenson passed. I'm like, wow, can you believe that? But that was it. And I'm checking myself, I'm like, okay, I was very close to this dude. We spent time together every day, just about every day. You know, we used to race our Tyco cars and stuff down in his basement. You know, I was very close to him and his family. And David Stevenson, when he passed on, I was barely moved. Now, as time went on, I would look at his pictures, and then one night it did hit me. But it hit me very lightly.
Right.
Now, like I'm saying, you have to spend time with people. And I'm going to admit something in a second. In order to nourish those close relationships. Now, what I've noticed, and I think I've mentioned this before, I don't know if it's because this is the way that my life is designed. And I don't know if I'm supposed to really suffer deep turmoil when it comes to losing somebody close to me. I don't really know if that's written in my life, you know, because the only time that I felt anything close to that is when I almost lost Deshaun, who I'm
Your son, yeah.
You know, that's the only time I felt anything remotely close to that. And even then, it wasn't a real sadness. I was going to get God's ass. You know what I'm saying?
It was vengeful.
I was like, you take my son from me. Woo, you, that devil that you created, he's a bitch. I'm going to show you how it's done. You're going to have to kill me. You're going to have to kill me. And you're going to have to kill me in a way to where it ain't even going to be any consciousness to send to hell or even to heaven or wherever. You are going to have to eliminate me totally, because that's the only way that I'm not going to try to retaliate. If I have any speck of consciousness, I'm coming after you because of what you did to me. Because of what you did to me and then what you turned around and took from me. You know. But, you know, it's a lot of people that I see, like I said, who I grew up with. A lot of people that's dying. A lot. We've got David Stevenson. We've got Walter Page. We've got Tracy Hand. We've got Philip Prude. I think Ann Johnson. I think her and Philip Prude died of this so-called COVA 19.
COVID, yeah, it's garbage. Yeah,
They just wrote their deaths off as that.
yeah.
But it's been a lot of people who I come up with who has passed on. And like I say, I don't know if I'm supposed to experience that type of pain. And and it makes me think of that Star Trek movie, The Wrath of Khan. You remember when Captain Kirk's son, David, came to see him at the end of the movie? When
The Star Trek, The Wrath of Khan.
Yes.
See, that's I don't remember seeing that one. So, and I made that was a request that you had me do last year, but I didn't actually watch it. And I know you told me that I need to watch the old Star Trek movies.
Yeah.
But no, I don't remember watching that. I might have seen that when I was a young kid. But explain it to me, Charles. Paint a picture for me.
Well, his son had came to see him near the end of the movie. This was the one when Spock had died.
Okay.
And see, Captain Kirk has always found a way to cheat death. But when Spock died, it blew him away, because him and Spock were very close.
Right, like brothers.
They were brothers. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even though it was a movie, I left the theater crying. And my mother looked at me. She said, "What's the matter?" I said, "Spock died." She said, "DA, it's just a movie." I'm like, "Mom, you don't understand." I said, "I don't even understand it right now." I said, "But Spock is dead."
Right.
And that hurt my soul. That a fictional character had died. And
right.
that shows you the genius of writing and directing to the point to where somebody can write a relationship between two brothers that is so profound that it affects you in a way to where even when this character dies, you still can feel the pain of losing that person.
Right.
But because see, at the time, this young man was told that Captain Kirk was his father. He wasn't told immediately, but after all of that stuff happened, his mother had told him that man named Captain Kirk, he's your father. And see, he had some type of connection with Captain Kirk, and at the time he didn't understand why. Because his mother and Captain Kirk kept everything sacred. But at the end of the movie, Captain Kirk was in his quarters, right, and he was reading, and so David comes in, and he said, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" And he said, "Yeah." And so he said, "I noticed something about you." He said, "You have really never experienced death." And that made Captain Kirk look off to the side and in this trance, and he said, "Yeah, I haven't." He said, "But not like this." And then Kirk had to sit down. And I don't remember all of the dialogue, but when the young man was getting ready, the young man had said, you've never really experienced death. You've always cheated your way out of death. So Captain Kirk has really never felt death. I mean, that real deep, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I'm bringing all this up for a reason, but I need to get past this. But after him and Kirk had the conversation, David said, That's all I wanted to say. And so he started walking out, and Kirk stood up and he said, "That's all you came here to tell me?" And so he turned around. Man. See, it's such beauty in this, Josh, that I get choked up because it's beautiful, you know?
Right.
He said, "Is that all you came to tell me?" He said, "No." He said, "I just want you to know that I'm proud." He's very proud to be your son. And they embraced each other. I was like, wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And not only because it's a father and son thing. The whole concept of death, back in the day when I saw that, I didn't understand it as much as I understand it now. Now, I had signs of it because when Graham passed, who I was very close to, Graham's death didn't affect me as much as it affected everyone else, and I was closest to her. And I think Graham pretty much prepared me for her death 7 days before she passed. And I think I told you about that when she said she saw the vision and everybody was happy and everything like that. So when the universe spoke to me that morning and told me that Graham was gone, even before my grandfather and his wife Leela, his third wife, came over and found her. So the universe was pretty much preparing me for death. So in a sense, in comparison to Kirk, preparing me for that type of death is almost in a sense of escaping the real powerful turmoil type effect of death as I saw it affect everybody else.
Right.
So I've always wondered, is that written for my life? And am I supposed to feel that type of turmoil inside? Have I been through so much that the universe...
You become numb to it?
No. Have I been through so much in my life as far as hurt is concerned? Is the universe protecting me from having to feel that depth of pain? Because if I was to feel that depth of pain, what would happen to me? Or what would I do to myself? You understand what I'm saying?
Right. That's a loaded question right there.
Because when I thought that this thing was getting ready to take Deshaun from me, I said, you go right ahead, you fuck with me and see what's going to happen. You think your world is dark now? I will show you who the devil is in this motherfucker. Go ahead. Go ahead. And I know I got one more left, but you want to know something? I do not care. Take my son from me and see what's going to happen. People say, how you going to dare God? Hey, God dared me when he gave me life and put me down here.
Yeah, put you in hell, so you have every right to dare him.
You know, you could have left me be. You could have left me in the universe. You didn't have to speak me into this mother's womb and house me in this flesh and then give these beautiful sons to me. You could have left me the hell alone. You know? So with all that being said, going back to Shy, as far as those women are concerned, her mother is, see, as a parent, having children is a joy, but it's a burden as well.
Right.
You remember when I told you that when I was being brought back, and when the memory started coming back.
Yeah, you felt way down.
Yeah, and when the knowledge and the memory came back that I had 2 sons, what I read into that was fear, love, and fear.
Right.
And what I noticed about both of them, they may sound in opposition, but they are those two are actually harmonious.
You know, they say that they exist on on the same line, but they exist on opposite ends. You know, they say love and fear are the only 2 vibrations of the universe. I don't know if you heard that before, but what you're saying is kind of reminding me of that saying. It's not love and hate, it's love and fear.
Right. It's love and it's fear. So a lot of people may say, well, it's attachment. But these are your children. They're already attached to you. They are an extension of you.
Yeah, a living one.
And you're going to love them. And loving them should not be considered a flaw. When you have to love them in order to be successful in being parents, it shouldn't be considered a flaw. But what most people fail to understand, even the Buddha misunderstood this, as well as Jiddu Krishnamurti. Now, a lot of people may say, well, you got a lot of nerve, blah, 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 blah. But the whole thing is this. Not all attachments should be considered a flaw.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because, man, a lot of those a lot of them guys like Buddha and Jiddu Krishnamurti, they take that no attachment lifestyle too far.
Yeah. And
I feel like attachment can be a beautiful thing too. It depends on, a certain amount of factors, but it ain't totally bad. I don't even think it's humanly possible to live in this world without having some type of attachment.
Well, like I say, when you have children, your children are a part of you. That is not an attachment. You are one with your children. You were one with your children before they were physically born. The whole
because they existed in you. You're right.
Jiddu Krishnamurti and the Buddha say attachments bring about pain. So if you read and you feel into that saying, what is that? The soil of it. Fear. You fear to be attached to anyone because you fear the pain. You fear that and the cause of effect of that. So the reason why I bring that up is because her mother is terrified for Keisha. I hope that she's not dead. See, that's a mother's love. That's the so-called attachment. Now, even though she's still in pain, she's terrified of having to feel the pain of losing her daughter. Man, this is a life we gotta live. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And this is the reason why I was telling you numerous times, all the way back from 2015, if you're going to have children, make certain that you understand what that means. Because to have children is a joy and a burden. And you live with a fear for the rest of your days. Because you don't want anything to happen to your children. And that's a natural feeling. But that natural feeling comes with a fear.
Right.
Of losing. That's why I can't even imagine how I would function on this planet if I lost any one of my sons. And it's not only because of what I've been through. I don't want to make it sound like it's a self-centered thing. But I can't imagine losing either one of my sons and walking around here at peace with that. You're never at peace with that. So why do you do this stuff? Why do you do this stuff? You know, I just don't understand. What the hell is this all about?
Right.
That's why I tell a lot of young men, I always told Deshaun and Dylan, take your time. Don't be in no rush.
Yeah, you've been saying the same thing to me, too.
Don't fall for the okie doke. You know, the common pattern, the set established formula. You go to school, you graduate, you get a job, you get married, you have kids, you know, and you
that's the American dream.
Yeah, you die. No, it don't necessarily have to be like that.
That's slavery.
It's burdensome. You know, I mean, even if you're free, you're never really free.
Right.
If you have children, you're never going to be free. Never. You're never going to be at peace in your mind. You may be calm because everything's okay, but you're never going to be at peace because of the fear factor of losing your children. And if anybody knows that, I do. Because before that information came back to me that I had sons, I was free. I was free where I was.
I didn't want to come back.
I did not want to come back. And during the early stages of me coming back, once information started reconnecting itself with me, and I felt the burden. I'm like, no, I don't want to go back there. You know, and that's one of the reasons why you notice a real big change in my personality after all of that happened.
Yeah, you were a lot more angry and easily irritated.
Mm-hmm. And see, it makes me think of when my mother told me that when I was born, I think I told you this before too, she said, when your head was out, she said you was screaming. She said you wasn't crying. She said you sounded like you was angry. And she said, and you was kicking your feet so much that my stomach, people was able to see these two bumps going up. She said because you was in my stomach kicking your feet because you was angry about something. I told my mother, I said, because I didn't want to fucking be here.
Right.
And I used to tell my mother all the time, I don't belong here. I don't like this place. And so that goes back to my motorcycle accident. It gave me clarity of obviously what I felt before I was brought here through my mother's womb. I was at peace. And so sometimes it makes me wonder, will I ever at least reach a calmness, you know?
Reach a what?
A calmness.
A calmness, okay.
Yeah. You know? Because every time I turn around, I'm going through a challenge, and it's becoming extremely exhausting. You know, I don't know if you do this, but I catch myself doing it every time. Every single time that I sit down and I put my shoes on, I always pause. And I find myself just sitting there.
I have my own kind of ritual like that too, as far as kind of being in a state of meditation before I actually start anything.
No, it's with me. It's not a meditation. I mean, I could sit there with just one shoe on, and before I put the other shoe on, I find myself just sitting there with my head down, and then I sit there and I read myself. And then my mind always asks me, how long has it been since you just sat the hell down?
What is your answer to that?
And my mind goes back. I'm like, have I been going through stuff for that long that I haven't even took the time like I used to when I was coming up? And just sat down and just don't do anything and just be present. A lot of people say, hey, you seem to sit down and relax. No, I'm not talking about relax. Just be present. Just be still. Relaxation is a method. Like, okay, I'm going to relax. I'm going to sit here for this long and I'm just going to take some deep breaths. Oh, please. Whatever. It's not helping you. Just be still and exist,
Yeah, because in this society, man, it's like people are constantly going up and going. It's like nobody ever takes time to just not do anything. Because in this society, I would be the message that if you ain't constantly going at 60 miles an hour or more, you being lazy, you being this and being that, instead of just sometimes just stopping full tilt and just being. Sometimes, like they say, in order to speed up, you got to slow down. That's something that most people ain't doing.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times I drive, I like to drive or whatever. I drive a lot. And I know that, man, people around me, man, they be in such a hurry to get to where they're going. I'm like, all y'all doing, y'all just going quicker to hell. And I don't mean like a fiery hell, I mean the grave. I'm like, where you going? You ain't going nowhere important. Why even rush to be anywhere? I mean, just be at peace, man. That's something, that mindfulness is something that's lacking in humanity. That's what you're saying.
And that's pretty much the answer. So when it all boils down to it, it's about this economic system that Rome has created. I mean, I've gotten to the point to where I'm starting to lose respect for comedians. I don't even want you to make me laugh no more. It ain't time to laugh no more.
Man, you talked about that many times, especially this year. You remember how I would occasionally bring up to you about how our people are so messed up that we turn everything into a joke? That's what I hate, man. It's like, you niggas, man, y'all, everything is funny to y'all. It's like, we in such a dire situation that we shouldn't be laughing at anything anymore.
Why do you think they put Dick Gregory behind all of these leaders back in the day, like James Baldwin and Malcolm X and all of that? Malcolm was trying to tell King and all of them, you need to get rid of Dick Gregory.
I was about to say that, yeah. Malcolm didn't like Dick Gregory.
Because as soon as you get up there and you start talking about something serious and the people are left with that seriousness in their mind, here come Dick Gregory joking about everything. And now everybody's leaving, giggling, laughing. What the hell you laughing at? Well, Dick Gregory said this, Dick Gregory did that. You see how the government gets you? They put their agents right there to make you laugh. Laugh your seriousness away. Nah, bro. You can't attend. You want to make somebody laugh? You go over there and you let them crackers laugh at you, fool.
Right.
Because we don't have nothing to laugh about. We still getting shot and killed by cops. We still getting lynched. All of that. What the hell we got to laugh about? Ain't nothing funny going on with us.
Nope. Our people, it's kind of like what you be saying about how you growing up in the 70s, you was pissed off at the people that you was around because you saw them always dancing the Soul Train instead of taking advantage of the situation and furthering the real revolution. That's why it stopped, because they want to dance instead of furthering the progress of our people.
Yeah. Well, they dancing. What's that? American Bandstand. We want our own Soul Train. They had American Bandstand because them crackers had something to celebrate about. They done killed all your leaders. They celebrate, dumbass. What the hell do you have to celebrate? They done killed all your black leaders, and you dancing down the Soul Train line like you celebrate. What do you celebrate? What do you have to dance about? And then everybody dancing down that Soul Train line, and on the side of it, all them niggas was high. All of them was.
Yep.
And can't none of them Afro bell bottom wearing niggas tell me otherwise, because I didn't talk to too many of them. And I've watched all of my uncles and my mother, and I watched the people who they associated with. Everybody was high. Everybody. I didn't see anybody being responsible at all. And I'm standing there like, well, what the hell is going to happen to me if I got to depend on these fools? So that's why I made that last video. I don't know if you watched.
Yeah, I watched the one about I pretty much check out all your videos. The one you uploaded last night or in the morning.
Yeah. About
Mother Nature and how we don't take care of it or something like that.
No, not that one. You know.
I ain't seen every video you uploaded. What was it? I checked that one out too, but it was something. Can you tell me the title of it? Because I remember.
It was about I am wisdom and woman.
Oh yeah. How we reject wisdom a lot of times.
Yeah, and basically how we reject our feminine nature.
Yeah. You're right, because we haven't combined that with the masculine, or we reject it because of what we think the masculine is and stuff like that. You're right.
Yeah. But that one was very personal to me, because that was my personal wisdom and my relationship with her always being there. And when she was saying that I'm his helpmeet, it's me, wisdom. I'm the one that loves him. I'm the one that's always been with him. I'm the one that's always guided him through these storms, and I'm the one who hurt him, and I'm the one who healed him. And see, when I saw that in meditation, I like, you've always been there. So my helpmeet has always been wisdom. Wisdom has always been there because I haven't had nobody else. Didn't have no parents. Didn't have no siblings. Didn't have nobody. It was always me and wisdom. You know, because a lot of times I would ask myself, considering I didn't have no parents. I had less than regular relationship with my uncles.
Right.
And what I mean by that is that even though I talk about my uncles a lot, my uncles really didn't teach me anything. Nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Nothing. The relationship with my grandfather, I think I talked to you about that. He didn't get a chance to really sit down and tell me a lot of things. He would quote something, and he would say, "Think about those words." So even though he gave me very little conversation, the meaning behind those sayings gave me a whole lot. But see, those sayings were more pathetic than they were for me at the present moment. So he would say things that would basically intellectually prepare me, so that when I do come about those things in my early adulthood and adulthood, what he told me would click. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is what he was talking about.
Right.
You know. But opposite of that, it's always just been wisdom, period. Because considering my upbringing, coming up on the south side of Chicago, and from Chicago going into Atterbury Job Corps Center in Edinburgh, Indiana, around all of that corruption and white folks' races out there, and then I'm thrown in you might as well say juvenile correction center when I haven't committed any crime. I was pretty much
right.
I was pretty much thrown away by my family and dumped, you might as well say, in Job Corps, where I met the greatest people in my life, regardless. However, what allowed me to get to go through that was wisdom, because because I found out during that particular experience that I had a mind on me that was, like they told me in Dharmasala, India. It was a guru out there told me that you have a universal intelligence. No matter where you go, you're going to be fine. So he talked about wherever you go, wisdom is going to be present. So, like you and I was saying, I think it was 2 years ago, that wisdom and intelligence goes in harmony.
Right. But a lot of people think intelligence is the intellect, but it's not.
No, it's not.
Intellect is just accumulation of facts or information, but the intelligence of wisdom is knowing how to use it and when to use it, how to use it, and why to use it.
Intelligence has nothing to do with information. You want to go into it?
Yeah.
Let's go. Because we need to get back to Shai. You want to know what intelligence is?
What?
Intelligence is something that is sacred. It has nothing to do with any measure of information. Man, when I was shown this in meditation, it blew me to bits. It has nothing to do with a measurement of information. It is beyond information. It is sacred, but it's very present. See, the only way that I can explain intelligence is where I was when I died. When you are totally empty, everything that you know is absent. However, you are in the know.
Right.
And therefore, anything that you see and touch, you don't have to figure it out no more. You're just in the know. Now, when you take that spiritual state and you house that in the flesh, and when you give the man who understands that, everything that he knows becomes totally irrelevant. Because when I got back here, when I was brought back, everything that I studied became futile. And what I mean by that is that once you get to the point to where you're empty, that's empty of what you know, that's when you're at your fullest. You know absolutely nothing. And that's when intelligence and wisdom reveals itself. And what I mean by that is that you're living a life of sacredness to the degree to where you're walking in the present, and yet still the present is still a moving reality, because because life is forward motion. You're living in the present, and you are in the present, and therefore everything that's transpiring in the present, you're able to flow with it and flow through it because you have intelligence. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. That's beautiful.
Are you sure?
Yeah, well, keep talking. I'm definitely taking everything in.
No matter if someone comes up to you and brings up a subject that is totally foreign to you, due to the fact that you have been emptied of everything that you know, no matter what someone says to you, you know what they're talking about. It could be something totally foreign, something you ain't never in your life heard, but for some reason you're able to relate to that, and your relationship with them in terms of what they're talking about. You're given an insight into it, to where even though they brought this to you, you're revealing it, you're unraveling it, even to them, to the point to where they say, wow, I never thought of it like that. That is intelligence, bro. It's not Malcolm's intelligence. It's not Jiddu Krishnamurti's intelligence. It's not the intelligence of Yeshua or the Buddha. It is not even your intelligence. It is intelligence itself. Man, when I saw that, I'm like, whoa, that is so profound. So profound. It is a essence that nobody can grasp because nobody owns it. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, take me deeper, please. What do you mean by that? Everything that you see that has movement, that's intelligence, bro. That's the only reason why there's movement. You know how they say there's intelligence found on this particular planet? They found a species in there that bears movement, and movement is time. Movement implies intelligence. When the organism dies, that's why they say it's brain. She's brain. He or she is brain dead.
Right.
So they're dead. But there's still some intelligence left. Even though that person's spirit has passed on, what happens to the flesh? It's still moving. It's called decaying. There's intelligence in that. There's intelligence in everything, man.
You're right.
So by intelligence being the factor of movement of everything that bears life, power, energy, I hate using that word. And that's intelligence. Intelligence. This is the reason why these white folks don't want you to utilize intelligence. And that's why I tell a lot of people, stop saying I'm going to utilize my intelligence. No, it's not your intelligence. It's intelligence, period.
Right.
Don't own it. See, because when you own it, you're comparing intelligence to what the accumulation of information that you've already gotten from the past. And when you contaminate the present with the past, you betray the present.
That's profound, David.
And when you contaminate the present state of intelligence with the knowledge of the past, then it ain't intelligence no more. It's just another form of the accumulation of knowledge, and therefore you really haven't gained anything. You're stuck in the measurement of information. Guess what? You're a slave. That's what you are. And that's what Krishnamurti was trying to bring out when he said freedom from the known. He said freedom from the known. You got to get rid of everything. And I'm going to tell you, man, that's why I tell people that accident was the most beautiful and most profound day of my life.
Right.
And so after experiencing something like that, only a person as myself will be able to tell you why I had to deal with so much anger, because I was back here. Because if you would experience what I felt, you wouldn't want to have came back here either.
I can imagine so.
And so when you experience that, the fear of death is gone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because all of the religious doctrine, when you got these choices, you want to go to heaven or hell, you know, heaven or hell. You want to go to heaven and you be good, and the majority of the time you're being a hypocrite trying to measure up to what this world considers good.
Right.
So you can get into heaven, or if you bad, you go into hell. Religious doctrine is a bunch of crap. That's all it is. And that's that measurement of information that enslaves you. But when you're brought out of that, and you are gifted to come back with a mind that the universe trusts you to have this particular information, because the universe knows that you're not going to disgrace this information by trying to use it in order to manipulate and hurt people.
Right.
You know, man, I got way off subject, but that meeting that all the women had, it's very easy for them to feel like that about her, because Keisha, in her actions, regardless of her pain and confusion, she did bring it on herself.
Yeah, that's something that people don't ever want to touch upon. People don't think in terms of cause and effect.
Mm-hmm.
If you do this, and that, you can receive this, and that.
Right.
People ain't logical in their actions, you know, and they want to play the victim. When I'm like, you put yourself there through a series of choices, or wrong choices.
Mm-hmm. And a series of irresponsibility by those before you.
Yeah.
And then, you want to know what I noticed?
What?
She get herself all dutied up and everything, and she walking all outside, you know, like the woman said, she's doing it and she's trying to get attention. And then when she get attention at the bus stop, why you covering up your titties now?
Right. What's
your problem? But you know,
it's a contradiction.
Yeah, but you know, a lot of them do that. They get all dressed.
They do.
No, go ahead.
They dress like hoes, and then when people call them out for it, they complaining.
Just like Salam. She used to complain about all of her male clientels, you might as well say. I don't even call them male friends. All the time. Everybody wants to sleep with me. Blah, 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 blah. Well, it's probably because every time you go around them, you dress them like a hooker.
Yeah.
You know, you're your typical Scorpio. Using your sexuality in order to manipulate people. You are a prostitute. That's what you are. And Keisha's the same way. I mean, you walking around Chicago dressed like that? In the black community? Come on, the black community? Come on.
You're right. Yes, it's surprising it took this long for them to get her.
Because you're dealing with a race of women. If you go on Facebook and you look at their stories, everybody is showing their backside. Every single story on Facebook is sexualized. Man, black women can't even get into yoga and not turn it into something sexual. I'm into yoga. You are showing your ass in the name of yoga. Why you just looking at me like, oh, bitch, you know what you doing. Ain't nobody stupid here. Ain't nobody stupid. And so you have a race of women like that, along with a race of black men who act like common predators. What do you expect? You got a race of women who always display themselves as prey, and you got a bunch of black men who are always looking for some prey. I don't perceive anything good coming out of something like that.
Yup. If it did, it'd be a miracle.
Mm-hmm. So there's a whole lot of things. But see, I'm interested. Oh, woo. You want to know something?
What?
Did you catch at the end about the man who is the bum? What's his the homeless guy?
Running, he was looking at the other dude. He was about to look. He noticed something about him, like maybe he was a suspect or whatever.
You know he was in the war, right?
Yeah. He remember he was talking about he gonna be a hero again. He was talking to the grandma. She like, you ain't no hero.
There you go. There you go.
And he was like, I'm gonna be a hero again. So that's implying he's gonna save her or find her.
He's gonna find her. It's gonna be him that's gonna get her back. There you go. It's gonna be him.
Yeah, I don't like his grandma, man. Sometimes she get on my nerves, man. She just so like demeaning and just mean. I know he screwed up. I'm like, dang, he used to be some life into the dude.
That's not what it is. I was so happy to see her mean little self. When she first showed up, I'm like, oh my God, where you been? It's about time. You know what she's suffering from?
What?
Dementia.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You ain't my grandson. I'm like, dementia.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, it's got to be a mental issue for her to say that.
Yep, it's
And
dementia.
plus after being beat down like that by them clowns, she wouldn't be right in the head.
Well, dementia doesn't come by way of any physical trauma.
I know, but I'm just saying. I remember. You remember Second Street when they robbed her? That didn't help.
But let's go into that too. Oh man. I just know that I was happy to see her, man.
Yeah.
I know that. Man, when she showed up, I'm like, there you go, where you been? You know?
Yeah, 'cause I was wondering where she was the whole season. So it was good to see her.
And when he said, I'm going to be a hero again, and gave her that flyer. See, you remember he gave her that flyer before he left.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's going to be the one that's going to get her back. So the next episode, you can look for him to shave again.
Yeah.
You know why? Because when he set his mind to do something right, he always shaved. You want to know why? That's a military thing to do.
Right.
Because you remember when he shaved and then he turned himself in?
Yeah.
Watch him shave to go get Keisha. And you want to know what they're going to do?
What's up?
It's going to be bloody.
Oh, yeah, it would have to be.
And you know what? He going to get away with it. Because it's only right that he should. And guess who's out of the way?
Who?
Brandon, his whole family is out of the way. So his plate has been
clean or clear. Yeah.
There you go, my brother. His plate is clean, bro. So he's getting ready to manifest as a hero. And so forgiveness is at hand. Reformation is at hand. You see how the pastor's getting him prepared, right?
Yeah, and that's what's the name, Papa's Pops.
Yeah, ain't that?
I was shocked the way that when they brought. Yeah, I was like, dang, I didn't expect that. It came out of nowhere when they brought his, and they said that was his father. I wasn't expecting that at all.
So why do you think they did that?
I don't know. I'm gonna let you talk about that one.
Nah. Come on, Josh. Why do you think they did that?
Well, it would make sense or whatever, because Papa is like that. He's very preachy, very philosophical, very righteous. So it makes sense that he would come from a father like that.
No, you answered too quick. You want me to explain it to you?
Yeah.
You remember when Big Papa say, "You know who that is, Daddy? That's the one who killed such and such." He said he's a child of God. See, he's getting him ready to go do something. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching on to war. I see this. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so when he becomes a hero, that's going to resolve his character with Big Papa and the church and the Muslim community and the entire community. He's going through a period of resurrection, and I think it's a beautiful thing. The way that I see this being written, I'm like, ooh, this shit is getting good. It's getting real good. Now, if they would just, hopefully, they tone down all that other stuff, because okay, we see you guys are a lesbian couple. We don't need to see a whole lot of sex scenes like they did in Power.
Right.
Now, as much as I enjoyed seeing Angela's body with her Spanish stuff, because I love me some petite women. Woo, love them. I eat petite women up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was still a little bit too much. You know, 1 or 2 sex scenes, that's good. But her and Ghost was at it almost every week.
Yeah, especially for the first few seasons.
Yeah. Now, as far as Shy is concerned, okay, you guys have already established that you're lesbian. You done got married. Okay? Can we just leave it at that? Leave it at that. Now, let's move forward. And what's his name, Mama? She got her back blown out.
Oh yeah. That part was something else.
Mm-hmm. And you know.
And now, I'll let you probably gonna say what I'm about to say.
I know. You know, it's gonna be revealed that he also went up in Homeboy's baby mama.
Yeah. Cause you remember that's how she got the information from her.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, dang, man, he didn't hit your mom and your woman, man, dang. And then, you know, if you notice, you go.
No, go ahead.
And you know, with that music, remember they was playing that beautiful music when they were kind of all in love, and they showed his mom with that Spanish dude or whatever. I was like, man, they really trying to promote the swirl agenda, like the black man doing it bad. Mm-hmm. Now they gonna put that agenda in the show now. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, a lot of women watch that like, see, you don't need no brother, you need one of them, and that's just, you know, further division.
Mm-hmm. Well, who cares?
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, I know you noticed it.
You know, because tell you the truth, these black women who laying up with white men, who gives a damn? You can have them.